Every year, India faces a new climate challenge. A city that never experienced extreme flooding suddenly goes underwater. A village that depended on predictable rainfall struggles because the monsoon become uncertain. A farmer who planned his entire year around seasons now faces unexpected droughts and crop failures. Climate change is no longer a future problem. It is happening today, but the biggest question is, can technology help India adapt to this changing climate? Can artificial intelligence predict disasters? Can satellites save farmers? Can smart cities survive floods? Can new innovation protect millions of people? The answer is yes, but there is another important lesson. Technology alone cannot solve the climate crisis because behind every technology there are people, communities, and generation of local knowledge. Today we will explore how India is using climate adaptation technologies, what is working, what has failed, and why the future depends on combining modern science with traditional wisdom. First is what is climate adaptation? Before understanding technology, we need to understand adaptation. Climate mitigation means reducing the cause of climate change. For example, reducing carbon emissions, using renewable energy, protecting forests. But climate adaptation means preparing ourselves for the changes that are already happening. For example, if a city receives extreme rainfall, adaptation means building systems to handle the water. If temperature increases, adaptation means creating ways to protect people from heat. If farmer become unpredictable, adaptation means helping farmer survive changing conditions. Think about it like this: if you know a storm is coming, you can't stop the storm. Prepare yourself to face it. That preparation is called climate adaptation. Why India needs climate adaptation? India is one of most climate sensitive countries in the world. Why? Because millions of people depend directly on nature, farmers depend on rainfall, fishermen depend on oceans, cities depend on infrastructure, villages depend on forest and rivers. A small climate change can create a huge impact. For example, extreme heat, India is seeing more frequent heat waves. Temperature are increasing, especially in cities where concrete buildings trap heat. This creates a serious health risk. Flooding is another challenge. Cities like Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, and Delhi have experienced extreme rainfall events. But the problem is not only rainfall, it also poor drainage, urban planning, and loss of natural water systems. Then comes technology helping farmers. One of the biggest areas where climate technology is changing lives is agriculture. Indian farmers are traditionally dependent on experience, they observe cloud patterns, wind direction, soil conditions, animal behavior. This local knowledge helps communities survive for centuries. But climate change is making old patterns less reliable. This is where technology enters. Weather forecasting comes. Modern weather system use satellite sensors, supercomputers, artificial intelligence. These technologies can predict rainfall, storms, extreme weather events. A farmer can now receive warnings before a disaster. Then comes smart irrigation. Water is becoming a critical issue. Technology like drip irrigation, soil moisture sensor help farmers use water efficiently. Instead of giving the same amount of water every day, sensors can tell which crops actually need water. This water and crop improves productivity. Then comes climate resistant crops. Scientists are developing crop varieties that can survive drought, flooding, high temperature. This helps farmers continue production even when weather conditions change. Then comes smart cities and flood management. Cities are facing a major climate challenge. When heavy rainfall happens, water has nowhere to go. Why? Because natural systems have disappeared. Wetlands are reduced. Open land is replaced with concrete. Drainage systems become overloaded. Technology can help. Flood prediction systems. Cities are using rainfall sensors, satellite data, real-time monitoring, AI-based models. The systems can predict which area are at risk. Then comes smart drainage. Smart cities are experimenting with automated water monitoring, improved drainage networks, flood warning systems. But there is important point. A city cannot become climate resilient only by adding technology. It also needs better planning. A sensor cannot replace a missing lake. An app cannot replace a destroyed wetland. Nature itself is a climate solution. Then comes heat adaptation technology. Heat waves are becoming one of the biggest climate threats human body's limits. Extreme heat affects health, work, agriculture, energy demand. Technology is helping cities respond. Heat action plans. Many cities now use temperature monitoring systems. They create alerts that advise people when temperature become dangerous. Then comes school buildings. New building you design use better ventilation, reflective roofs, energy efficient materials, traditional and architecture actually use many of these ideas, thick walls, courtyards, natural flow. These proofs are important lessons. Sometimes the future requires looking at the past. Then comes why some technology fails. Technology sounds powerful, but every technology has limitations. Sometimes solution designed in one country fail when copied somewhere else. Why? Because climate problems are local. A solution that works in Europe may not work in India. A solution for a city may not work in a village. For example, a flood management system may fail if it ignores local geography. A farming technology may fail if farmers cannot afford it. A warning system may fail if people don't understand or trust it. Technology must match people realities. Then comes importance of local knowledge. For thousands of years, communities have adapted to nature. Traditional knowledge includes water harvesting, traditional farming, forest management, building techniques, local weather observation. For example, when Indian villages historically created a system to store rainwater, the systems were designed according to local geography. They were not created by computers. They were created by generation of experience. Modern science would not replace this knowledge. If we work together with it, the best solution come when scientists plus communities plus technology work together. Then comes the future of climate adaptation in India. The future will require a combination of many things: artificial intelligence, satellite monitoring, renewable energy, climate, smart agriculture, better urban planning, and community participation. The biggest mistake would be thinking technology will save us. The correct approach is technology will save us, make better decisions. Because climate change is not only a scientific problem, it is a human problem. It affects the people life, how they work, how they eat, and how they survive. Now comes the end part. Climate change is already changing our world, but adaptation gives us a chance. India has two powerful resources, modern innovation, and centuries of traditional knowledge. When these two come together, we can create solutions that are not only advanced but also practical, because the future will not belong only to the most advanced technology. It will belong to those who understand both science and nature. Now comes the end part. Technology can show us the path, but wisdom decides the direction. Thank you for this news.